to WROL Broadcast. I am Hate Mail. With me today we have Mr. Zubaz.
Hello, hello.
And special guest, been a long time since he's been on, DaBoy.
What's up? It's been since the last Lantern month.
Yeah, which has been a while. This is the longest I think they've gone without a lantern.
I know, I almost, left. Gone. And then they sucked me back in.
Yeah, I thought you'd quit for a little while there, and then you
you can never quit.
Took up the
nobody's ever allowed to quit.
Then you took up the resident shop spoiler role, so that got you juiced up again.
You got to do what you got to do sometimes, right?
Yeah, you got to pay for that lake house somehow. So, and so Burger's not going to be on. Due to our favorite mission, Up and Away, Burger has run out of characters. So, fortunately, we had asked DaBoy to be a guest, and because it's Lantern Month, and of course DaBoy goes ham on Lantern Months, and
of course.
We decided to let Burger take the month off so that he can get a slow gear or two for the month. And with that, let's get right into the new tunes. And if you guys don't mind, if we have time, let's talk about the reworks, because I'm excited to talk about them, and I don't want to wait.
Sure.
Oh yeah, they're all good.
Yeah, they're so good. So let's get into the new tunes. Let's start with whatever one you take your pick. Well, actually, before we do that, let's do which one do you want to start with, DaBoy? Before we get going, we gotta have Zubaz give the background.
Well, I think we should start with the worst one,
which is
definitely going to be Nekron.
Okay.
All right. Big reveal there. Okay.
All right. Zubaz, give us the history.
Yeah, I mean, Nekron is weird. So Nekron is supposed to be like the embodiment of death, but we also have like Black Racer is the embodiment of death. Death from the Sandman universe is the embodiment of death. Black Flash is technically the embodiment of death for speedsters. So it's always been a little convoluted exactly what he is, but he pops up kind of a couple times. Obviously, his big spotlight is during Blackest Night. He actually is around before Blackest Night, though, so don't confuse that. And actually, his big battle with Kyle, a lot of people confuse this. His big battle with Kyle was not in Blackest Night. It was way before Blackest Night. And so, yeah, I mean, he basically presides over what I would describe kind of as like DC's purgatory, kind of. We really don't know a ton about him. He's supposedly like as old as Darkness, whatever that means. But he really is like one of the ultimate big bads in DC Comics, which is appropriate that they made him kind of the main boss in this game. He's above Spectre in terms of power level. If you're considering that, Spectre actually can't do anything to him because he has no soul. He's above. Some people argue about whether him and Trigon, they kind of go back and forth on that. So that's the kind of power level that we're talking about here. But he's, he can bring people back from the dead. He can command armies of the dead. And his big spotlight was in Blackest Night when he got closest to kind of escaping from the underworld where he resides.
Cool. All right, DaBoy. So with that, in game, how are we? What rank and level do you have him at?
So I have him like Gear 11, level 80, but I did only take him L1 because I'm sorry. I know I'm on the Burger Shack, but I'm taking them both to Rebirth 5, so I'm allocating the spending separately.
so
we're gonna
we're gonna call it the Slider Shack, or maybe.
Yeah, we could call it the Slider Shack or the Slider Shack.
What's those little mini burgers? The place Harold tomorrow is go to. I can't think of the name of it. I'm just blanked out. Oh, we'll call it the White Castle Shack.
Nice.
There we go.
So at L1.
At L1, yeah. So I think that as every month goes, it's a little tough to fully kind of evaluate both of them because they both appear to be slightly bugged.
No.
No, not. not a DC Legend new character. No way. But I do think Nekron, he's going to be one of those, he's a special tank, so he's going to be tougher to kill even from reds, hypothetically, right? He is a ramping character, so he's not going to do a ton of damage right out the gate, but he does pair well with those other characters that can put the Doom down just because his basic, when it's not, I swear it's bugged, but when it's not bugged and it does extra damage if they have Doom, you could pair him with Black Hand for a Black Lantern pairing. You could pair him with, Dark Side, off lead or on lead, it doesn't really matter. You could pair him with everyone's favorite Green Tank, Chemo. I don't know if that's everybody's favorite Green Tank, but he's kind of risen in popularity with Dr. Poison. But anyways, that's kind of what his role is, as far as what I've seen him do, and what I've used him as. You'll see in a lot of the videos, I don't know that I sent you too much Nekron video, because I haven't. I think he's maybe one of those characters that kind of needs the rest of his legendary points.
Gotcha.
So I can't tell you that L1 is.
I will. Let me throw this out there too. He has what I believe is another bug, but it's a beneficial one. So DaBoy is saying his basic may be bugged and that it's not doing the appropriate level of damage. His leader skill is actually his first passive is bugged as well. And this is not like a secret. It's already been reported. So, but the way it reads in the text is at the start of every teammate's turn, if that teammate is below 50% health, 75% chance to get death immunity. He is treating himself as a teammate right now, which in DC, the word ally is different than the word teammate. Ally means everybody on your team, including that character. Teammate generally means everybody else. So like Darkseid, his leader skill, it's every teammate gets to do an extra attack, but he doesn't get to do that. Same thing for King Shark, that kind of thing. Nekron right now is applying it to himself, which means like if you knock Nekron, if he's the last surviving enemy that you have, he's going to get death immunity every single turn, pretty much.
Doing it 100% of the time.
Yeah, and it's doing it full time.
It's not a chance. It's all the time. So he doesn't die.
So you need to bring a Purger if you plan on killing Nekron, basically. That's kind of the word of advice for all the listeners here. Now, granted, you're probably not going to run into Nekron for a while, but when you do, keep that in mind unless they fix that before his sale goes up.
Yes.
So let's talk legendary orders just so I can put something on paper. I know you've only taken L1, but based on what you're looking at here, what would you recommend, DaBoy?
Yeah, so I do think I think that he want him to kind of utilize the fact that he does double damage a lot. So I do think that the 1 is important to take. I would say probably first.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if the 4 stays bugged and it's applying Doom all the time, then maybe that's a good thing. Just 100% every turn he just puts Doom down too. Maybe you want to take that. I don't know, but. Legendary Order is kind of weird because his leadership is kind of neat. I know we don't like necessarily the characters that require, or rely on ally deaths, right? But his leadership's kind of neat because it's when anybody dies. So anytime any character dies in the entire match, he can use his basic, which on a random enemy, I believe. Yeah, random enemy. Which, if they have Doom on them, he's doing that extra damage, and he just, What's cool is, I don't have that yet, but I want to see if it chains. So, if he kills someone with his basic, can he do it again on another random ally, or enemy? Which I don't know, because I don't have that legendary point. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It seems like he should, but only once.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like if he kills on the second one that he would do it again.
I don't know, because it I mean, wouldn't that be cool if you just have a bunch of low life, low health characters, and then he just starts.
But at that point it would be a passive. Like at the second attack is a passive, so it wouldn't trigger his passive again.
Well, Zubaz.
Even then, 2 kills would be good. The odds,
Yeah.
depending on how much damage it does, it may not happen too often anyway.
Right.
DaBoy, what do you think? So generally, what I talk about on the Burger Shack is like how close to the lore that they got the kit. Like what you've thought about Nekron being in the game. What do you think? The
fact that he has no revive mechanics, death allies or enemies, like the only thing he has is like heal immunity, kind of sucks. To me, because he's like a literal necromancer, right? But I think besides that, which is kind of the biggest point of, Nekron, but besides that, I think it's okay.
Yeah, I agree. I think they missed like the forest for the trees, basically. They had this really obvious thing, and I do think that they had a challenge, and I'll say this again later with Kyle, which is they had a Black Lantern in the game already. And they have a White Lantern in the game already. And so then they debuted a new Black Lantern and a new White Lantern, and they had to give us something different this time. So I think that they did have to be like, okay, we can't just make Nekron a souped-up Black Hand. But they work really well together, which is kind of cool. That Black Hand and Nekron go so well together. I think that's clever, and that works. But I do agree. I mean, this is the ultimate guy who brings people back from the dead. It's like him and Anton Arcane, and he doesn't do it. I'm not thrilled about that.
Yeah, exactly. And to that, I think like his first passive, like it's literally called reanimation, and it just gives them death immunity.
Right.
Like reanimation, you would think that it would like revive them to like 70% HP with like a 2-turn damage immunity or something. I don't know, or enrage. I know that's similar to Cersei, but you would think that you would bring them back, do that, but that's okay. It's a little bit of a missed opportunity, but you know what? Give me 12 to 18 months and we got a rework coming,
That is optimism.
So
seventh anniversary. Awesome.
That's right. We got a little off topic for the Legendary Order.
I mean, his 4, the way it reads, at the end of every teammate's turn, if that teammate's below 50% health.
Yeah, so I would say that one is probably last.
Yeah, I was going to say if it applies Doom every teammate's turn, then it'd be great, but...
Yeah, I think that one's last, especially because his 3, it says that it has a 75% chance to put Doom on all enemies.
Yeah.
That one also might be bugged because I've never not put Doom on someone unless he's missed.
So you're thinking probably his 5 next. Because
I would say probably his 5 because you want to go off. I mean, I'm a big fan of like call assists and free attacks and things like that. So anytime you can have a free out of turn attack, it just helps you do more damage, right? And then I probably would say that I'm torn between his 2 and his 3 next because heal immunity is like super clutch.
Yeah.
But also, his 2 is the only way that he like gets intups unless someone dies, or like unless an enemy dies. So I would probably take heal immunity just because it's more versatile, and then the 2. Because he gets 5 intups if he kills someone, or if anytime an enemy dies, he gets 5 intups. So like, as long as you kill someone early, it's more worth it than the 3 that you would get from using that. I don't know. Zubaz, what do you think?
I don't know. I mean, they're all like kind of middling. None of them jump out at me as being like very bad, but none of them jump out at me as like you absolutely have to have this one either. I would say like I like his leader a lot. That if any character dies, that he uses his basic.
And I'm thinking 1 and 5 is L2 is his ideal spot. Like if you
probably
and then 2 and 3 dealer's choice, and then 4 last.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, that's what. That's what I put down for Necron. I'll just put that as early thoughts, but
We reserve the right to change that later, DaBoy, once we start playing with him. So
Yeah, once we have, all the legendary points, which is,
this is the last time you're ever allowed on the Burger Shack.
Listen, talk to me when I have them both Rebirth 5, and then I can tell you how, or how long they survive.
what have you been doing with your like 1,000,005 Olay gems?
Exactly.
Literally just hoarding them until this month comes, and here it is. So
Well, that's true. You had to pay real dollars to buy them right now. So
yeah. So right.
okay.
I'm interested to see how hard they'll both be to kill at plus 50% extra HP and all that. But anyways, keep going.
They don't seem too bad having faced them in Siege, but maybe if you didn't have to pay rent, you would be able to take them to L5 too. But
you got to pay. You got to pick and choose where to put it, right?
yeah. All right, Zubaz, let's hear the Kyle Rayner.
Let's hear the Kyle Rayner.
All right, so Kyle Rayner. Now, DaBoy may disagree with me on this. I don't know, and I think DC does change a little bit, but I would call Kyle Rayner the most powerful Green Lantern of all time. I think that there are some people that might say John Stewart has more power now, but I think it's Kyle still. Kyle's the guy. Kyle is interesting for a lot of reasons, which is, one, a lot of the time, obviously, the Lantern Ring selects somebody, and generally they have, like, a reason for doing that, or they have, like, a military background and that kind of thing. Kyle is, like, a graphic artist living in L.A. that he just gets it because it's, like, the nearest person, basically. He very much lucks into becoming a Green Lantern, but, that adds to his, like, allure, I think there are people who'd be like, yeah, it's like, I don't identify with Hal because Hal Jordan is a fighter pilot. I could identify with Kyle Rayner sitting on his ass in Los Angeles and just like chilling. Right, exactly. Getting a lantern ring. I'm like, that's awesome. But he goes on to be everything that a lantern possibly can, right? So he becomes Ion, which is basically, what if Green Lantern were a god? He does get the White Lantern powers, which, again, common kind of misconception that I see floating around the forums and stuff is he's not a White Lantern like during Blackest Night. Like he is a White Lantern in New 52. They kind of like start him off as the White Lantern in New 52, and I think people just get it confused because like all that was kind of happening at the same time. Blackest Night kind of led right into New 52. That little area gets a little jumble for some people, but I think that's why Kyle becomes kind of the greatest White Lantern too. There's not many White Lanterns, and Kyle is the one that kind of does it the best because he says, I'm going to use all of the emotional spectrum powers here. But Kyle is somebody... yeah, go ahead, DaBoy.
That's the interesting part about Kyle, not to cut you off, but like in Blackest Night, right, and the Brightest Day side of things, you don't see that. When Hal Jordan gets the white ring, like, you don't see that side of it, right? Whereas when Kyle gets it, he's like, hey, he has to master, compassion. He has to master, even avarice or rage or all of those things before he can completely harness it.
Right, which is, that's why Kyle kind of like is the best one. He breaks some Green Lantern rules all the time. He's kind of really fun in a lot of the like cartoons and animation and stuff. I think for a lot of people in a certain generation, like Kyle Rayner is their Green Lantern. So it's good that we finally have the like non-parallax version in the game. I think that there's an argument that you'd want the Green Lantern version in the game too, or at least a skin, like Kyle Rayner Green Lantern skin.
Yeah.
But
Green Lantern skin for this one, I'd be happy. I'd be fine with that.
So that's my little background on Kyle.
Oh, Kyle, he's the most. One last thing on the background of Kyle, and if you guys know comic books, you guys know that. But I think that he is the most creative Lantern. Like, just with the things that he constructs and just some of the things you see drawn and you're like, what?
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
But, yeah. And that comes from his background as being the, artist and creativity and all that fun stuff.
So, as a character in game, and granted you're only L1, which I think his kit, like on paper, looks very good. Like I feel like he should be a great character.
There's one thing I would change, but I'll get to that at the end.
Okay. So, which legendary power did you take?
So I would have taken 5, but it's bugged. So I didn't take 5, but definitely I would have taken 5 first, because once that's not bugged, he's going to be able to use his 2 every other turn.
Okay.
Because as the wonderful Zubaz that we have here pointed out to me, there are something like 58 characters that do some sort of turn meter down in the game. And they're not bad characters, so they're all over the place. And it's a passive, so he doesn't have to be in the leader spot. But
his 5 isn't a legendary, so you should have that automatically. His legendary
the legendary is that reduces the cooldown
of that Valiant. His
correct.
His variant cover.
But it doesn't trigger at all. It's not triggering at all.
I refuse to call it Valiant cover, but we'll get to that.
We'll get to that as well. But so the problem is that passive is not triggering at all.
Okay.
So I didn't take that point because the passive's not triggering. I would assume that the legendary probably also wouldn't trigger.
Okay.
Right. But I would take that first because, at least that's my opinion personally, because then you could use his 2 every other turn, which gives the entire team damage immunity. It gives, without legendaries, right?
Yeah. It
purges 3 debuffs from everybody. He gains 3 awarenesses, and then when you get the legendary, you can put buff immunity or debuff immunity on whoever you want. So if you're I need this person not to get stunned, I need them to get their next turn, boom, you put the debuff immunity on there and you're safe. But the whole team is damage immune. And if you can do that every other turn, there's some pretty spicy comps out there where your team is just damage immune forever.
Yeah, I could see that. Which one did you take, though?
So I did take the 2 because
Okay.
I valued that debuff immunity. And then I personally probably would take, again, so I'll get into the point, this is where I would change him.
Okay.
And he has 2 legendary points that apply buff immunity, which kind of feels redundant, right?
Yeah.
So his basic has a 75% chance to apply buff immunity on the target, and his 3 has a 100% chance to apply buff immunity. So I feel like it's it's good, right? Buff immunity, a great thing to put on the enemy team, and it's nice to have more options for it. But I feel like the 3 is really where you're kind of, you're putting the speed downs, you're doing the heavy damage. That would be a good one to put the buff immunity on, right? Or it's
100% chance. I mean, having buff immunity on a basic at 75% chance with all the colossus running around, that's still pretty strong because that is such a useful buff.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's why I do see that. The problem that I see with Kyle is he's a special tank, right? And he has a great support kit. This is the one thing I would change right here. Is I would probably change that basic to give him some sort of offense because he does not hit hard at all. I'm talking 3k damage, low numbers. So I would probably say he's a special tank. Give him hey, he puts 4 int downs, right? 4 int downs on a single enemy. Give him that 75% chance to gain 2 int ups on his basic, right?
Yeah.
That's what I would do, because then it allows him to, one, self-ramp, kind of like other special tanks, Darkseid, Artemis, where they buff on their basics, and they kind of don't do damage out the gate, but if you let them get going, they get a little crazy, right?
Yeah.
That's the one thing I would change.
So
Yeah, I mean, I think he looks good. I mean, that second
I love
passive,
him besides
that second passive, I mean, in terms of the characters that have active turn meter down moves, which is, you're not going to get it from like Aquaman or something like that. But I don't know if you've heard or ever used Azrael or Black Flash or Darkseid or Spectre or Lex Luthor. These are like really big name characters that have that in their kit and that are part of their legendaries, so you can't avoid doing it now, right? Like
Azrael doesn't do turn meter down.
Azrael absolutely does turn meter down.
I don't ever remember him doing that.
His
that's
3
he usually kills everybody with his 3,
Yeah.
but he definitely does do turn meter down.
I completely forgot he did that.
His 3 is apply 50% turn meter down on the target.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, and so it's like anytime that like he does that, anytime that the AI does that, which is going to be pretty often, you're going to be able to lower the cooldown such that I think he's going to be doing it like almost every turn, and I think that that's the move is that you would do that almost every turn. Like you run him, I think it could be redundant, but if you really wanted to, and you put him on a team with Enchantress, you would literally just be damage immune all of the time. So I think that that's going to be really cool to see. I'll say this: I have fought DaBoy Kyle in Red Alerts, and I went into the match like purposely being like, okay, I'm not gonna like kill him right away. I want to see what he can do. Like let's do this. And DaBoy had him under Nightwing, and when you can't get to him. And he's applying so much damage immunity and stacking these awareness and stuff. I mean, it's like, it is a nightmare. Like, you have to get to Kyle early, I think, or you're going to be in a lot of trouble because it's going to set up the rest of his team to do whatever it wants.
He does. I think he's going to be a good character.
And I think this one, at least, I keep forgetting about it, but it's, like, so good. He has 100% a chance to call an assist at the end of every turn. Every single turn, he just calls a random assist. Like, oh, you get to go. Oh, you get to go. So you run him with Nightwing, who's already jumping around the whole match. Well, guess what? Now he's jumping around twice more, right? Like, every single turn, he calls an assist. So you run him with someone. I've been playing around with some heavy-hitting basics, some can't-miss basics, things like that, because every single turn, he's getting the 30% turn meter all the time from the turn meter down moves that are everywhere in the game, right? Yeah. Black Flash is literally just a turn meter engine for your team once that works, right? I've been running him with Aquaman a little bit to kind of like simulate how it will work, but yeah.
So
he's going to be he's good.
So we're thinking when the bugs are fixed, his 5, then his 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm thinking probably his 3, 2 turn buff immunity.
I would say probably his 3, and then his 4 and his 1 are kind of up to whatever you value more. If you value more chances to put debuff immunity on, excuse me, I keep saying debuff. If you value more chances to put buff immunity on, then take his basic. If you believe that 70% in this game is actually 100%, then at the end of all of his turns, he has a 70% chance to apply death immunity to a random ally.
Yeah,
so.
I think I'd probably go 1.
Sorry.
Personally.
I have a question, DaBoy. In using him, have you seen him call himself as assist at the end of his turn?
No.
That has never happened? Okay, that's interesting.
I can't say that it's never happened. I've never noticed it happening.
Okay. Because, I mean, if that were the case, which there doesn't seem to be anything written that would prevent it, right? Like, it doesn't say...
teammate or ally.
Yeah, call teammate or anything like that. So that's why it doesn't seem... But if that were the case, I would probably bump the 1 up because it'd be like you could do his 2... get the damage immunity on the whole team, and then, oh yeah, here's a chance to apply buff immunity on a target too. But I guess we'll have to test that and see if that works. If so, that would be really good.
I'll have to see. Maybe I'll put him in like a regular PvE match and just go in and use the 2 first turn and see if he calls himself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, just run him just by himself. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Yeah, just throw him in there. That'll be a good test. I'll do that after this podcast here.
Yeah, if Burger were here, he would have already done that, and we would have known the answer. But that's okay.
Okay, that's why this is the Spider Shack, bro. This is the junior bacon cheeseburger, bro. Jeez.
Oh, I'm kidding.
But yeah,
we're doing a happy medium here, which is we just came off of doing Burger Shack After Dark, which was allowed to be like very raucous, and so we're like Burger Shack mid-evening right now, and maybe next month we'll go back to a more wholesome version.
Yeah.
But I think he's really good. I've been wanting this character in the game since like the game had been out for like a year. I mean, probably since release, but really like for about 4 years I've been like, White Lantern Kyle, White Lantern Kyle, White Lantern Kyle, please, please, please. And then they gave us Parallax Kyle, and all my hopes were dashed. All my hopes were like, well, we're screwed. We're never getting White Lantern Kyle. But here he is. So,
what did you think about this kit for Kyle's background?
I think it was good. Like I said, I do think that, I mean, he's freaking Kyle Rayner. I personally am always going to think that he should have done more damage than he does. But I do, again, White Lantern and no like life giving except for damage immunity, right?
Yeah. No heals, nothing like that. Yeah, no revive.
And you can't just clone White Lantern Sinestro. I get that, but maybe, I mean, 2's already really good, but maybe it gave, men's 2 or something. I don't know. I don't think that. I think that comic accurateness, for the most part, it's good. Kind of like Necron, except for that one part where he doesn't give life to anybody, except for debuff or death immunity. But
Speaking of his 2, I just want to mention this real quick. I'm a big comic fan. I'm a comic collector. So a one-shot, which is the name of Kyle's basic, a one-shot is when you have an issue that it's a single story by itself. Oftentimes it can be like a character that doesn't have their own series or something like that. That's what a one-shot is. A key issue, that's his name of his 3, that's for collectors, and a key issue is something that a collector would want to buy for a specific reason. Most of the time, key issue is like a first appearance, or maybe the first time they put on a specific costume or something like that. A crossover is when you get characters from different series. That's the name of his 4th. And a retcon is when they change a character's background, his backstory or something like that, just because they're trying to tell a new story with that character. Now, a Valiant cover, if I were thinking about comic books, a Valiant cover would be a cover of an issue of Valiant Comics, which is its own brand, its own company that has some really good stuff.
That was my favorite comic series of all time, by the way. Before
really?
They went under.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, they didn't completely go under. They're still doing their thing. Shadow Man they're still making Shadow Man, which is great. But that's what a Valiant cover would be. Now, a variant cover, if you're unfamiliar, is every time they release an issue, sometimes just to sell more copies of comics to make them more collectible and stuff. A variant cover, which applies to all companies, including DC Comics, is just a different cover. They just have a different artist come and do, it's like a 1 in 25 chance to pull this one, or a 1 in 100 chance or something like that. And a variant cover would be a brilliant name for that second move if you wanted all of the moves to make sense with a theme.
But wasn't it named that originally? There's a backstory to this.
So my understanding, because I asked about that, as soon as I saw the names of these moves when Reeves made her post, I asked about it. And what I was told was that Doombox, WROL member and famed, former Reddit moderator and all that kind of stuff, that Doombox, he has the opportunity, like you do, Hate Mail, like some other players do, to suggest changes to kits when they are, before they kind of hit the main audience. And Doombox said, I think that this should be Valiant cover because he's saying, oh, it's like a heroic, it's Valiant that he's providing cover for his team. And apparently he missed the comic book reference. And so he asked them to change it, and they did. And then after it was explained to him that the references were made, he has asked for them to change it back, and they have not. So we will kind of seemingly forever have that. Maybe when they rework him, we can get that changed in 16 to 18 months again. But
I am looking at the original kit, and I can confirm that originally was variant cover.
Yeah, that's going to crack me up every time I see it.
Here's what we got to do. So, hey, you got to submit some feedback. Tell him, hey, it needs to be variant cover, and he got the buff immunity all over the place. Let's just put 2 intups on his basic, and the boy will be a happy camper. Everything will be great, and make him a special strike. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah.
I'm just kidding. But I think that he's going to be an annoyance in some of those like reset teams where you have Donna Troy, World's Greatest Detective. I mean, you may not even need those guys, but if you have them, I mean, geez, like Nightmare event, wave 2, you're going to have like 10 damage immunities and 1 billion awarenesses all over the place.
Yeah, but in Doom's defense, and I think he was the one to suggest this, he originally gave affinity resistance up instead of calling us crossover basic.
Oh no. Thank you, Doom, for fixing that, because I would have thrown all of my devices away if he had anything to do with affinity buffs anywhere, because those things suck.
Yeah.
I'm going to suggest that for the rework.
I'll quit. I'll quit. I'll be done. I'll be like, you know what?
And I'll give you another one. Originally, the int downs were agility downs, so.
Thanks.
I'm not going to say what I want to say.
Sometimes I think they just do this like just get a different suggestion.
Probably. They're just like, let's throw on a absolutely garbage, useless, just to see what they'll give us.
Yeah. All right, so not Nekron. Kyle seems like he's gonna be pretty good. We got a legendary order. If you guys still have time, let's do a little bit of rework talk, and let's save Superman for last because that one's probably gonna run the longest. So let's start with Nightwing, who is. I didn't think he was gonna be that good. Like I wasn't excited about him at all. In fact, this whole month, full disclosure, other than Superman, I was like, everybody looks kind of lame. Going to be a rest month. I'm not going to pay that much attention. I can't believe how much I love Nightwing. I think he's like one of the best characters they've done in forever.
Yeah.
He's insane.
Yeah.
Insane. It's I like so Zubaz saw it. I literally raged so hard in the 1500 chat the other day because he's bugged. Not because he's like OP or like insane. It's because he's bugged at turn 0. He doesn't apply the invisibility to everybody, right?
Yeah.
So I used Lex to put debuff immunity, and it went to not Nightwing, and then Nightwing went crazy, and then I lost the siege match, and I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me.
Yeah, I went, I don't know how these people are doing it, but I went full bonus versus full bonus. And if you don't bring an answer to Nightwing, he just, like, you lose. Like, the match goes
stalemate.
forever. Yeah, it's just stalemate.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how people are doing it personally, but...
I can't see it either. I have found several answers to Nightwing, which makes me believe that he is a balanced character. Like, I think that there's a bunch of different ways that you can handle teams where he's the leader. But that being said... He is annoying to deal with, and you do have to very much strategize and plan out a match before you go into it when he's on the top of the other side. There? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Which is fun.
Yeah, I mean...
It brings more creativity.
And it's funny because I was listening to Atlantis After Dark, and they were saying, I'm really not sure if he's going to make... they hadn't played with him much because he had like literally just come out and Raids was out, and nobody gets to play during Raids. But they should. But anyway, they because they quit on day 2. But it you would think that it would be hard for him to find a spot as a leader, but you can I've used him as a leader in a ton, even in Wraith, and he holds his own. Fine.
It's crazy because, like you said, you'd think, like, man, there's so many good leaders, like, it'd be hard to kind of slot him in. And then I know he's a bonus toon in Siege, but typically in Siege you see, like, at least some variety when you go to the top heroes or the leaderboard. Last night I was checking, it was like the top 37 people all had Nightwing lead, and I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how Aquaman was last month too. I think that they've two months in a row released a really good leader, and it kind of drastically impacted Siege.
Well, you're seeing in Wraith, which is wonderful. I mean, you still see Spectre on every single team, Azrael on like 50% of teams, but it's now like 7 different leaders with those two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's fun. I mean, like DaBoy said, it's fun because even though Nightwing, like, okay, so he's got his evasion stack out to wazoo and everything, it's not as simple as, just bring Terra. Like, that, I don't think will get it done all the time because he has so much awareness. So
Yep.
you do really need to plan, like, the whole thing out and be clever about kind of like how you get to the other teammates, which I think that's the real way to attack Nightwing, is how can I kill everybody else on the team, and then once he's by himself, he's very easily manageable.
If
You know who
if
counters
you have
Nightwing
somebody
pretty
who
good?
can deal with them.
Right.
You
Well,
know
no,
who
I mean, because
counters Nightwing
eventually
pretty good?
his evasions fall off. His evasions fall off when he's by himself.
Not if I don't know.
Yeah.
Whenever I've faced,
If you can get him by himself.
yeah,
That's the key. Is
Yeah.
You have to get him by himself. That's how I've been doing it. I'm sure that there's many other ways. Some people I know just prefer to kill him out of the gate, and then that's the easiest way. I've kind of been going the opposite way and using, to me, the absolute best against a Nightwing team has been World's Greatest Detective because of his AoE that removes all buffs from any invisible toon. So, like, if you got a Spectre getting real beefy or a Barda or something, yeah. Yeah. And then, so it removes their invisibility, but it also removes everything else, and all of a sudden none of them are invisible. You can get a clear shot at somebody at that point. World's Greatest Detective also happens to provide the true sight for the whole team too, which is really effective. So that's why I have found him as just absolutely schooling these Nightwing teams. But people do it in different ways.
You never
Where you been
used
holding that
World's
out?
Greatest Detective against Clayface teams?
No, I just dark-sided Clayface, and then it was over.
Yeah, but everybody else still has buffs. So yeah, I mean, World's Greatest Detective is the answer to.
Okay, well, the more you know. Look at that. Hard-hitting analysis.
I mean,
DaBoy, this makes me doubt if you'll be World's Finest this month in Siege.
I already told you I freaking lost because of stupid Nightwing. So
I think you can get away with 1 loss, maybe even 2 in this one.
I don't know.
I wouldn't know. Last month, no losses, so...
Oh, yeah, congrats, Zubaz. Congratulations. What I was going to say is, you guys know who I think might counter Nightwing pretty good?
Who's that?
Come on. He puts out buff immunity like freaking candy because he's got it on 2 moves.
Yeah.
Well, he's got to hit him, though.
Yeah, he's got to hit.
Well, yeah, but if you bring Supergirl speed, right? Supergirl speeds him up?
Yeah,
If I'm-
but he still could
Yeah,
miss.
so-
I mean, he doesn't have as many evasions, but he can still miss.
All right, listen, guys. I was trying to be optimistic about the buff immunity, okay?
Yeah, I mean, with Terra and him, there you go.
Yeah, see? There you go.
Perfect.
Easy peasy.
But
Yeah, he's really good. And he's also really good with Kyle, as Zubaz was alluding to earlier.
Yeah, oh yeah, he is. I mean, he can hide anybody, which is great. He can hide a Spectre. He can hide a Enchantress. Anybody. You can't get to them, and it's really effective. And I like it. It's super clever that he's not taunting. He is doing like inverse taunting, which is really good. I think they nailed it with that kit.
well, he also, what I'm torn is I was originally, when I first was looking at it and played with him, I was like, I'm gonna RB5 Superman because we'll get to him in a little bit, but I love him now.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody asked for the stun. I think that was a suggestion, WB suggestion, so didn't even ask for it because I had no interest in Nightwing at all. But he's got a targetable stun, which is amazing. And it's not tied to speed down, which normally is a good thing, but with the last couple of characters, speed downs can be dangerous. So, and he doesn't do a ton of damage, because sometimes you don't want to kill people because of Spectre. So it works really well.
Yeah.
And he gets the debuff immunity. I mean, he's just a solid character.
And damage immunity.
Yeah, I mean, there's...
So if you happen to hit him through the awarenesses, through the evasions, he still won't take any damage because he's got damage immunity.
Yeah, he's annoying to face. So before we move on, let's get a little bit of legendary order with him. What are we thinking?
Zubaz, you do this one, because I to be honest with you guys, when his rework dropped, I just went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I don't know.
I'm leaning towards his 4 personally. But
4, yeah. I think you have to have the 4. I think 4 is really good. Now the 5 is going to be incredibly important, but as we've mentioned, that's bugged right now. It doesn't apply the invisibility until the start of your first turn.
Yeah.
Which is weird. So once they fix that, which is, costly, has been on a tirade and campaign for that. But once they fix that, that'll be really good. I would say 4 or 5, because, sometimes I hesitate to take leader skills as the first legendary, but you really want Nightwing as your leader. So I would say 4 or 5, and then 1 and 2, I could kind of go either way. The 1 is really awesome. I would probably say the 2. I would probably go 4, 5, 2, 1, 3 is what I would look at.
His 1... the gain 3 evasion ups and 1 awareness, though, every time. I mean, that's what makes him scary.
It is. It absolutely is.
On a random ally.
Yeah.
His targetable stun is just so good. I mean, L4, minimum, and you can leave off the 3. The 3 is really good too. The 3 is also bugged for anybody that hasn't had the chance yet. It's supposed to apply 2 awareness to the assisting teammates. Right now, it just applies 2 awareness to a random teammate, which is kind of weird. But either way, I think that he's an easy L5 candidate. But I would say minimum L4 to make him what everybody's really hyped up about.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I personally, even though as a stun aficionado, I think his 1, even though his 2 is phenomenal, I think his 1 is still, honestly, I would take his 1. His 1, I mean, there's a case to take his 1 first, even though.
Sure. I mean, I would prefer him to start off with it, because
I agree.
If you can get to him right out of the gate, then you can neuter him pretty easy, but... outside of that, I agree that his 1 is really good.
Actually, I almost think his 1 should be before his 5.
You think so?
I think so, because he's decent out of lead even. I mean, he's not...
That's true.
He's not great, but he's usable. So yeah, I think I'd take his 1. His 1 is just because he does it so much.
Go for it.
And right now we're using him without his leader working, and it's...
Well, he does that anyways. Never mind.
True.
I mean, even without his leader working, he's phenomenal. So,
yeah, he's real good. Except on defense, he's rage-inducing.
Yeah. All right, let's talk a little bit of Supergirl.
Supergirl's so good.
Which and another one, I thought she was going to be at best a B tier, but I was like, oh, it's better than the trash that she was pretty much. I mean, she's pretty terrible anymore. Power crap, didn't really do anything. Now she's a force, and she's annoying.
She's not to keep bringing Kyle into this, but Supergirl with Kyle, super cool, because with Kyle you can put the damage immunity on everybody, and then she just uses her basic twice on everybody.
Yeah, that's
she just
but Kyle he would neuter her a little bit, which is. If nobody is receiving damage, then she's not going to be doing her 2 as much.
Okay, but listen, you get 2 free basics, and I have had my Rebirth 2 Azrael one shot by an L4 Supergirl.
I mean, that's fine. That's an argument to put Supergirl with anybody that call assists. But I think in terms of the ranking of call assisting toons, that Kyle would be lower. Because you want toons to take damage with Supergirl. That's kind of the key. Not a lot of damage, but just a little bit of damage.
And she pairs pretty well with Superman. She pairs well with Aquaman, even though you're losing the critical damage getting hit. But she just, it's so, like, Darkseid she's phenomenal with.
You know,
yeah, I mean, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, what I think is maybe the biggest surprise to me personally when playing with her, and I saw it actually on Josh's stream the other day, is she neuters Lex teams.
Yeah.
Because Lex can't heal. Like, I mean, he heals, but it's like minuscule amounts. And I like didn't even think about that happening. And then seeing it, it's like, oh my gosh, like Lex isn't healing. This is great.
Right. For those of you that are like figuring out why and what that means is because Lex, for those of you that don't know, heals crit as well. And it's not just nerfing like crit damage, what Supergirl does, it's any crits. And so it eliminates the crit chance on the heal, which not only shrinks the amount of heals that he's doing, but can also just turn them down to 0 if there's enough crit chance downs from the buffs that she's placing, which is really crazy. On top of that, Lex, because of his legendary on his heal, it adds 50% crit chance for the heal, so he's like even more susceptible to critting, and then that crit gets completely neutered by Supergirl. So that's why she is working as such an effective counter to Lex, which is really, really cool. Mm-hmm. I thought that it was really great that they did it because it's almost, DC has, it kind of goes in cycles and stuff, and for those of you that have been playing long enough to remember, Aquaman and Supergirl kind of came about the same time, and when they were first released, they were for the same thing too. It was, how can we get the Arrow brothers to stop critting so much because they're ruining the game, basically. And now that's what they've both come to do again. We had Aquaman last month, completely takes crits away, and so I think the devs, the challenge that they had this month was how can we make Supergirl relevant, but not just eliminate crits, because we just did that last month. And so that's when they switched to this, you can crit all you want, but it's going to do literally 0 damage. And there's been a lot of videos floating around, like Discord and Line and stuff, of like, why is my whoever not doing any damage whatsoever? And he goes, oh, it's because you crit. And there's like Supergirl's on the other team.
Which I was one of those people asking that it seemed like there was times where 0 damage happened. She's getting stamina ups when she's getting crit. Actually, 3 stamina ups. 80. There's so much. She gets
stamina ups. Her affinity ups. We make fun of that buff, but for her, they actually seem to work pretty well.
Yeah, her affinity resistance. I mean, she gets 5 of them for 2 turns.
Yeah,
which is insanity. And like, if you're using a red heavy team and it's Supergirl and you have 2 reds left, you lost. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really, again, like a good way to make her significantly different than Aquaman, but to serve sort of the same niche. So, Aquaman and Supergirl now are the characters of, I want my team to live longer so that they can kind of do cool stuff. Supergirl has the one other thing that Aquaman doesn't have, which is like her basic just hits like a freight train. So
and it hits twice. I mean, I've lost a couple toons to Siege because it's just ridiculous now. And then she got that awesome skin not too long ago, so that makes it even better. So let's talk Legendary Order on her, because hers is a little tough, because I'm kind of torn on some of these. The only one
Zubaz, can you guys?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, I lost you guys for a second.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, we're thinking Legendary Order for this one. I'm a little bit torn on this one because I don't really like her 3 that much. I mean, it's good. I like it, but I mainly
you don't use it as much.
But I sometimes want it because I want the crit damage down. But her 1 does that on it. I'm thinking her 1 has to be first, unless you guys disagree.
I think so.
Because
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say 1 is first, because that's kind of like what makes her go bonkers.
On a funny side story, I was like, why is my Supergirl never striking twice? But it helps whenever they get reworked and you apply all the legendaries.
Right.
You want so to that note, the first 2 days of Siege, you want to hear something funny? I was like, dude, why is my Supergirl doing no damage, right? I go and check, and all of her abilities are ringed 3 out of whatever. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, that'll get you. And speaking of which, Tootitron, this was one of those rare characters, got a great rework that he already had RB5. I have yet to have that.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for Metallo's rework.
Tootitron is meta now. What can you do?
He's so meta.
What can you do?
I would go 1. I would probably go her 4 after that.
Yeah.
And then the other 3, I think, are less important. They're all good. But I would say, like, if you're like, hey, you know, when we were saying Nightwing, like, if you want to really see him do work, you need him L4. I think her sweet spot is probably just those first 2 legendaries. Take her all the way up because she hits so much harder at L5. But I think those 1 and 4 is really what you need to get her moving.
Yeah, you really honestly could just get her 1 and be okay. If you're L1, she's pretty usable at that point. I mean, 4 is better, but
yeah. And then I do think that random death immunity to a random ally, right? She uses that anytime someone takes critical damage,
right?
And so, like, I've seen her use it like straight turns, like just keep using it over and over, and then everybody has death immunity. You're like, what the heck?
Yeah, actually, her 5 is the only one that you really don't need it. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, agility up, meh. One agility up, meh.
Yeah, it's lame.
Yeah, which is fine. I think we didn't need her to be, like, super OP.
Yeah, all 3 characters, I could rebirth 5 Supergirl, even though she doesn't really fit my teams, but she's
I think
so
they're
good.
all, like, if they're not S, they are extremely high A. Like, they're both, all 3 of them are just, like, right there.
Yeah, Supergirl just, I mean, at RB5, that basic just sweeps through and murders everything.
So one more thing, and I keep bringing other characters into this. This is not going to be one of this month's characters. But when Siege was bugged with the wrong bonus tunes, you put Deadman into Supergirl and watch her do her basic 4 times, the whole team's probably dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was awesome.
Or Saint Walker called the double assist. Same concept, but...
Yeah, I like the bonus tunes before they changed them back. I complained about it, and then I was like, wait, I like these bonus tunes a lot more.
Take away Amazo.
And Deadman with Nightwing was so good. Like, yeah.
So good.
Yep.
All right, let's get to the most controversial character, which I think the majority of people, at least I'm in this camp, sounds like you might be DaBoy, and even you, Zubaz.
Yep.
That Superman I like his rework a ton. I think it's fantastic. I know OC3, Boomstand, both of them had... I know OC3 has an RB5. Did Boomstand have an RB5?
He has him decently rebirth.
Yeah.
He does, yeah.
They both are
If it's not 5, it's 4.
They're both very unhappy with Superman's rework, which surprises me.
Yeah.
I love him. I think he's fantastic. Now, I mean, I understand losing the clearing debuffs every turn versus just his turn now is a significant nerf because he just, he can't clear the buffs as fast. But I just feel like you have so many ways to clear buffs that it's just not that big a deal.
Yeah, I'll say this. The one argument that the both of them have made that I agree with, even if I don't love the idea personally, just based on what folks know about me and Superman, but what they basically have said...
a Superman shirt.
I do. I have a Superman and a Superman hoodie now.
Oh my gosh, who are you?
I'm a big Superman fan. No, I get the argument that if they were going to completely change a character from like defense to offense, that what they could have done was just introduce a different variation of Superman. I get that. I understand that, especially from a Superman fan. They want all the Superman they can get. I get it. That being said, I think, 1, this rework is amazing, and 2, like, even though he is no longer a tank gear set, he still like really doesn't die all that easy. Like he gets a ton of damage immunity, a ton of death immunity. Like I think that generally saves him from just like, oh, you can just kill this character instantly.
And I'm not in the camp of, like a lot of people just want every character to hit like a truck. Right. And, I like utility tunes. I use a lot of them. But I'm not complaining when I use Superman's taunt and then he kills Barda.
He just obliterates someone.
Yeah. And then because he has a 75% chance stun, which I always get annoyed when it's 75%, because he strikes twice almost every time, and when he's called assist, he strikes 4 times, you almost always stun. So his basics...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it stuns like crazy.
And he does that to start, like, his first turn.
Yeah.
And he's...
Like, turn 0.
He's a hair faster. Like, everything. It's just... It's crazy how good he is and how scary he is. And he is colorblind now. Like, he will slap the taste out of a Blue Toon's mouth and then murder them in front of their family. Like, that's what he does. It's crazy.
Murder? Wait a second.
Superman is known for murdering. That is, like, what his MO is. Certainly murdering my soul for years, but...
And he's strong enough. I mean, you're given his ultra powerness. When he gets crazy, he's going to get crazy.
Superman, he's going to haunt Josh's dreams for years, I think, during the Tournament of Legends. Like, Josh was cruising, faced a Superman, and then Superman just ruined his entire world.
He had 5 points lost in the TOL. All 5 of them were to Superman.
Wow. Yep. Yeah, and I miss that. I haven't seen any of Josh's stuff in so long with this new job, so I feel bad.
Well, you missed some fun with the Tournament of Legends. You should check that one out. It was a lot of fun. The VOD is still on Josh's Twitch, I think. But yeah, I mean, Superman, like, he is a monster. He's just so for good. Fun, Burger had his team, and I miss Burger. I wish Burger were here for the Burger Shack and not these replacement guests that we have. But that being said, I had Burger on my Wraith defense log, and so I was like, let me just see what I could do. Let's have some fun. Let's see what Superman can do. And I played him like 20 times in a row. Like, if I was about to win, I would back out. But more often than not, I was not about to win. And it was because his team was insane. It's Superman, Terra, Spectre, and Azrael, and they're all Rebirth 4. You can hardly do anything about it. I was eventually able to, kind of beat it with my RB5 team of Enchantress, Aquaman, King Shark, and Vixen. But he just stuns so much and he hits so hard. And once he gets ramped, he kills everything in sight. I can't. Again, I get OC3 and I get Boomstand where they're coming from, but I can't imagine being disappointed in this rework.
I got a really good idea. You ready?
Yep.
January new tunes. Give us a tank Superman. Boom. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, or give us a way to we didn't talk about this, and it's starting to run really long. But I had one episode last month, so we'll give the fans some stuff.
Yeah, the people need to hear your voice.
Yeah, I've been a little out of the loop. I've been deep into the crypto podcasting and a bunch of other stuff. But this month has sucked me back in pretty good. And while the chances are probably less than 2%, we did get Necron, so there's a possibility. Some things, I know no knowledge. They don't tell us anything. When it's something like this, they wouldn't tell us even if it was coming. So it doesn't mean it's not. But I've learned to set the bar very low with WB, all the way to the ground. But there is a still minimal chance that something may happen. And I feel like they're giving Necron, and I know a lot of people are getting themselves hyped over this. And we thought with Gear 11 that meant Chapter 9, which is 4 years later. But we got Necron, so maybe they're going to advance the storyline. Maybe, I'm holding out a glimmer of hope.
It's kind of weird to fight Necron with Necron,
Yeah, so I have a glimmer of hope that maybe something. Probably not, but maybe something.
So are you saying maybe Superboy Prime, or where were you headed with this in terms of like
I don't know
what we would get at? Yeah,
that I have no
Hate
idea.
is just stirring the speculation pot.
Yeah.
That's what
Okay,
he's
all
doing.
right.
I'm just hoping. This is me just hoping. I mean,
You heard it here
mean-
first, everybody. Superboy Prime confirmed for January. Hate just said it.
Hey,
I personally,
go ahead.
personally, I think with the new raid tune, I thought that would be the more likely route they might go because they seem to like.
Oh,
the
with
Titan
Trigon,
stuff.
yeah.
That's what I'm thinking might be more possible.
Well, Trigon does the same thing as Superboy Prime, basically. So I mean, you could just get Superboy Prime as playable, whatever.
Yeah, it's true.
I don't know. I don't.
We're talking about Superman, and you just said you have hope, right? I mean, it doesn't go much better than that, right?
Yeah, I mean, just I'm hoping, and if nothing comes this month, I will officially think we're never getting anything new. Like that's kind of my thought process. Even though that may,
We're getting a skin for free.
yeah. I mean, for all we know, in January they could have something. So it doesn't mean if they do nothing this month that it's the end of the world. But I mean, it's been 4 years. The odds are getting low. I mean, I guess we did get raids and we got a few things during those 4 years. So not like we got nothing.
And we got a new game engine earlier this year.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm always holding out hope.
yeah. The game has so
Always
much.
holding that hope.
This game has so much.
We'll be
potential.
here until the lights turn off.
Yeah,
right?
and-
100%.
There's a lot of months, and I've been the last couple months. I've been like, "Come on, just end the game. Put me out of my misery."
No,
But now I'm having fun this month.
I cannot
so-
wait to do our 10th anniversary review episode in 5 years.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
Let's do Superman's legendary order before we wrap this up. His is tough. I'm leaning towards his 5 first, but that
Yeah, I think
It has
so.
to be a 5
yeah, I mean, I feel like that almost has to be. It's I already
Because that's when he...
I actually did a legendary order for him for 2021 already, so he didn't get reworked already once this year, did he?
He did.
Was
he
it this
did.
year?
Was it
I
this
think so.
year?
I might have
Yeah.
done. I might have updated it. I think I started doing.
He was reworked. No, not this year. His last official rework was. Hold on.
It wasn't that long ago.
It was,
Was it?
May of 2020.
Oh my God.
Okay.
It was when it was Metallo,
You're not-
Parasite, Martian Manhunter, and Superman.
Yeah, I think I did just go in and update a legendary order when I was starting to play with him. So I had 5. I put on here 3. I'm not sure. I'm torn between 3 and 1 because the stun is so good, but the 3 lets you use it all the time.
Well, the
Right.
3 lets you open up
Yeah.
50% of your matches with it.
Yeah, I'm thinking I probably
You
would
just
still go
punch people out the gate. And
because
like,
sometimes you don't
wait.
even need the stun; he just kills them. So,
Right?
Yeah.
so then I put 5-3-1, and then I put that as the minimum legendary order that you really want to get them.
Yeah, and then I would say probably 2 and then 4.
That's exactly what I had. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
What's settled?
and then
That's settled. Look at Superman, the most straightforward of legendary orders.
and then I will announce soon, for those of you that are still hanging out over an hour into the episode, it means you're real fans. So
Look at us. Cosplaying as Crime Alley.
we will... That's all right. I forgot to listen to your last episode. It'd been a long break for a while, and then they came back. And,
Oh, we're back.
There.
the,
Oh, we're back.
But I'm going to do a live episode on Discord. I think that's what we're going to do for our episode 400, because that's the episode after this one.
Nice.
So we may have a few old friends of the show popping in and
Ooh.
checking in on
Spoiler.
some people. So
That'd be exciting.
I'm-
Just
I'm-
like a rotating crew of guests. That'd be
yeah,
fun.
I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to have people popping in and out. That's where we're going to use Discord. I've learned how to make Discord. Discord has upgraded their audio quality significantly. We're doing it on our crypto podcast. We've learned to have high quality audio on Discord, shockingly.
Yep.
So, but
Shocking.
yeah, well, years ago it sucked. I mean, it was like the worst audio ever when DP did it. I also think it was partly because of DP's editing. But thankfully, he doesn't listen to the show. So
Is that a hint of somebody dropping by?
maybe we may some old WRLers may be popping in or out.
Nice.
So, but we will. Yeah, I think that's it. You guys, anything else for me before we wrap this up?
No, looking forward to next month too. It's gonna be.
Don't forget to do what we talked about. Right, submit to Reeves. Hey, variant cover intups on the basic instead of buff me. Just don't forget those things.
Okay. Well, guys,
That's it. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Been a long time, DaBoy. So we will call it a day.
All right. Hopefully, Burger's back next month. We'll see.
Yeah, we need to get Burger.
You guys can get back to having the fully geared tunes or fully legendary tunes.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for listening to this episode of WROL Broadcast. Please help us out by becoming a Patreon and getting access to special Patreon-only shows. Just go to patreon.com/WROL Broadcast. We also now have DC face masks at our store. Be sure to check it out. What happened to Tootie Tron? He's so meta now.